It's the last time.
All right. Uh, Welcome everybody to this third and final webinar of the project Let Europe Know About Adult Education, or LEK as it is abbreviated. This is towards the end of a project which has been a long process by which we have wanted in a consortium in Europe to try and improve on our ability to communicate, explain, and make adult education visible and interesting to other stakeholders, but also very much towards media, because it has been identified as a kind of gap and challenge that although we do tremendous amounts of work in adult education and a lot of good things are happening, we have had, and perhaps always have had, a kind of a challenge to make that visible, to make people outside our sector and our institutions aware of what we are doing and the importance of what we are doing. It can be because we are not used to marketing ourselves. It can be because we are not used to brag about ourselves. It can be a cultural thing that many of us, perhaps, possibly, are very focused on getting the job done. But once the job is done, once we have accomplished something, we know that it was useful for the stakeholders, for those we wanted to reach, to the extent that we were successful. But we might not always have the tools or the knowledge of how to translate that into a wider context, to explain that to a wider audience. And why then is that needed? Well, we live in times of transition. We live in times of challenges when it comes to the usage of time of people, what they should spend their time on. And for example, the European Union has launched an initiative by which they aim and want for 15% of the adult population in Europe by 2020, 15%, 1-5, to participate in adult education. In some countries like Finland, that's already surpassed by far, but in other countries this is not the case because of lack of infrastructure or maybe because of information lacks and knowledge. So the medium, if you look at the whole of Europe, today approximately 10% or 10.9% of the population currently engages in adult education on a yearly basis. So clearly we have a long way still to go if we want to get the message out that adult education can help you, can be beneficial for you in a professional capacity, in your personal life, in your community. In this round of webinars that we have organized so far, we have had, this is the third one. The first one was why should we communicate about adult education? And that was presented by Alistair Creelman from Sweden, who is also with us here as a participant today. The second set of webinars was about those vulnerable groups. How can we talk about vulnerable groups without making them seem pointed out and taken and spoken of as from above? So how can we engage vulnerable groups? How can we work with vulnerable groups to engage people within those communities to become ambassadors of learning, to become aware of adult education, and also to help spread the word about adult education? That second step was presented by Maurice de Graaf from the Netherlands, based on research that they had done there. And today, finally, on the 4th of June 2018, is the webinar where we will give some examples of what have we done in the project, what are the experience of those who participated in the project, and how does it all go together. The end tool of this project is what you will see and hear a presentation about, to get an idea what you can do with it. Because the whole point of this exercise is, yes, we trained people for 2.5 years to improve their communication skills, but it does not end there. This is only the beginning. And The tools that was developed are now available for you to use and adapt according to your needs. That is what you will also hear about in this webinar. We will run until 2 o'clock Central European Time, after which I will close the recording, and if there is a need for further discussions, we will go on, but our aim is to keep this to the 1 hour mark, more or less. All of you who are participating here today live while this is going on, you are encouraged to write your questions and your comments, share your ideas, your links, your resources, your suggestions in the chat window, which will be kept open for the duration of this webinar. And we will pick, if you have questions, I will pick them up from there and give them to the presenters if they don't notice them themselves, so that whatever your input is, we will use it, we can benefit from it, we can learn from one another. So even though you cannot speak in this webinar because of technical limitations, we've decided to keep it to the chat window. Your voice is very important, because this is something that where we're all engaged together. We're all doing this because we think that adult education deserves to get higher visibility. And before presenting the full context, the full concept of what all the things included in this trainings that we have offered from the project, we wanted to give you a taste of one case study of what was actually done, the process that was actually done. So Carlos, I would invite you to present to us what you have done with the LEK-project materials and how you have tested the trainings that was developed in the project. Carlos, you're welcome.
Well, thank you, Giovanni. Just to say that I can share some ideas and some activities that we have developed in Coimbra when we have organized our multiplier events with the project. And in these events, at the same time, it was half part of conference, half part of workshop. And just to say that the half part of conference we have had debate reflections about citizen journalism and about social report about the button up communication. So to understand that uh, we uh, we need uh, more and more uh, uh, efficient. Communication is rooted in education, but at the same time we need to innovate. and to create new approaches to this communication.
Well,
That means uh,
um,
first of all, to
Carlos,
have a
thank
combination
you.
between
Did not
professional
get specific question.
to
Yeah,
have uh, skills
in the
about about
because I think it might be because
communication. But at the same
listening.
time,
And try
the participation of
grasp
adult and the
things that you were
education
talking about
you, Johan. Hello, everybody. This is me. Wilfried from Austria. Uh, uh, Johan, you were mentioning the lot of abbreviations I was using in my presentation.
Overview
The
about
chat, so
you.
I'm the editor in chief
So
of um, uh, Austrian
are
quite well known
structure
platform on about
information
dedication.
concrete abuse
Uh,
forest
I post the link here in the chat
object
for you.
in this
Uh,
model
for to
are
our English
uh,
overview
to
because
become aware
most
of
of our
the
content is in
presentation of
German.
adult education and
Um,
media
yeah,
to
I have
know
the pleasure
what
to present to
news
you one of the
values are
intellectual
to be
output
able to
of the LEK
identify
project
them
to together with my colleague Lucia. Yeah. Um, as we are funded, as the project was funded by Erasmus Plus, by the European Union, we were working on that intellectual output where we tried to collect the knowledge that was there within our network and to make it available for a broader audience or public to use. So we developed a curriculum on public relations and journalism for adult educators. We believe that adult educators not only trainers, are not only educational managers, are not only librarians or counselors or coaches, but also people who have a strong need and a growing need to communicate about their work and the efforts they are making and the objectives they are reaching and the people they are dealing with and so on and so on. So this is there to help adult educators to learn or to deepen the knowledge they have on how to design their public relations and to write articles and to publish on adult education issues. The curriculum itself was drafted by a German journalist in adult education, Michael Sommer. He is well known. He has drafted the curriculum in the basic, and Cornedu in Austria, my colleagues and me, like Lucia, we worked on the development of the curriculum by educational means. So here you can see we have drafted a curriculum that has that contains 6 different modules. I don't say the titles of the modules now because we will go a bit into this afterwards. Just to let you know that we built a framework that you can use to train adult educators when it comes to communication again on adult education. We try to integrate journalistic views and public relation views, so you have both of it in the curriculum. And as this is a modular system, you can of course just pick 1 or 2 or different parts of the whole thing to tailor the curriculum to a training that you want to implement in your own country, in your own institution, in your own context, whatever.
Dragana
it is meant
earlier
to
already
be for.
about the
if you implement all of those 6 modules, you would at least have a training of around 20 or more hours. So there's quite a lot of input we put in there, and you can use to develop a training that is suitable for you. The approach that we have chosen within this curriculum is that the one that I already mentioned before. Adult educators are the experts for their own field, so it is necessary for them to communicate about their work in the media, also in social media and media that they can control themselves, but of course also to
you're all encouraged to write in the chat. We will pick that up as well.
It's a framework, as I said before, so you can use it in a way that suits you. We have different models. You can mix them, you can select some, you can adapt them.
When you were talking
just to let you know, we tested the curriculum within the network now within the project, and every part of tested 1 or 2 modules. So we found out that works also, because you can then focus on the content that's relevant for you and for your target group, and you can mix it together.
It's okay.
Yes, thank you.
just to say that about the training process about communication, adult education, and this curriculum and this we are now negotiating with. We have at the university in Portugal what we call the high schools of education. That means it's the training process of future teachers in our country, and in the network of these schools in Portugal, we are trying that they introduce this course, this curriculum, as we call the free courses in at the university. That means everybody can participate in a free way in these courses, but at the same time they have a certificate.
Wilfried, do you want to pick up on that?
At
Your microphone is up again.
and practice writing headlines, teasers, introductions according to journalistic criteria. And module 6 is about writing good PR text. So subject is everything about organization of PR work, and objectives are to know criteria of good public relations, to be aware of the importance of factual information in PR text, to be able to reduce information and to focus on the information needs and interests of a specific target group.
Okay, I will
And
go
one
on with
focus is
module
also
3.
on,
That's writing as a
creativity
construction
techniques
process,
for
as a
writing
constructive process between reality, stereotypes,
yeah,
and public
with,
relations. So
short
when we tell the
overview
story of
the
adult
modules,
education, we
and
tell a
another
story that we create in the
information
moment, that we
might be
write it
relevant
down
for
or that we tell
everybody,
it. So
that
we have to be
the
aware of
curriculum
what
and
happens
its
while we tell the story and while
are
we
licensed
create
to
it.
specify share
And this is
alike.
what it's all about in the
So
module 3.
Lucia, do you
It's
want to
about
add
the
I'd like
values
to
and
introduce
attitudes that we have in
the
journalism,
idea
like
that
And
objectivity,
therefore, you just have to give a proper
and of course the
communication
relations that
about
provide the links to the
described here in the
license,
title.
actions and
and indicate
activities
What
the
do
of
we
local
changes
perceive as
education
real?
can
What do
be
we
and
perceive
for
as
the
a
remix
basis
stereotype?
or
of
transform
What
the
is
the learning
material
the
process.
story that we
literally
want to
We
tell
can
about our
material
introduce
institution,
this
for example,
idea
function
to
under the
and
share
how
with
does this
license.
the
relate with the
adults
people,
But
with the
you
things
can
that people
share in
observe?
depth
in
the whole
activities
curriculum,
of
But
the
the whole
how
program.
Idea. I
will
just
we
If we
market
to give you an
this
organize
example,
amateur
when we
writing?
work in
How
Austria
will
with
we
our
market
for
this
platform,
your
communication?
audience.
Is it in
sometimes
a
we
non-dedicated
receive
form
at the
articles
same
from
to
time
have
other
a
a basis
feed
educators
of
for
where they
ourselves
learning.
say
as media
we are
community?
We
like the biggest adult
learn
Quite
education
about
ambitious
institution in this country.
6
a lot of
So as you might
portion, 6
imagine, there is
a
at
lot
modules
least
of
5 who
training
can say
topics
this,
that
and they do
take
have
organize the
somehow for granted
communication
that
of
facts
the
what
adult
you are
educator is
to
doing.
willing
prove that
So
they are the
also
biggest,
take
only
on
a
the
but in
role
role
of
of
which
propagating in social
context I
media
think the biggest,
and
like
traditional
they have the
media
expertise
and
but
and so do they
elsewhere
have
about the results of
basis
adult
for a
the cash
education.
learning
flow,
process
do they
good
have
That's a tough
communication.
high
challenge, isn't
income,
it?
so
And then
How
whatever it
many
is,
people
they
want
are
to
the
take
biggest in.
these modules?
if we
And I always tell people,
Carlos,
if you write, we are the biggest
if we have
adult
the
education
idea that it's
institution,
not a task
that's
only
nice
for
to be heard, but
specialists,
I don't
that
know
means that we
how to
have
measure what you are
educators,
telling
and
me.
at the same
If you
time
just tell me we have
adults.
1 million
Everybody can have a
participants a year, this is a number where I say, wow, okay, this is huge. Then I know what's going on and what's behind the fact that you say you're the biggest. So this is just a little glimpse of what we're dealing here in this module,
communication process at local level.
in module 3 with the constructive process. Just to let you know, we are using in the curriculum, we are using slides for the training, of course. This is just a short glimpse of the slides that we're using here. For example, in module 3, we try to demonstrate how it is when we are selecting information and using it for our articles or PR work. You can see here, for example, an image that quickly represents or shows what a difference it makes if you cut here or here. The story that you tell is completely different, and that's what we are trying to reflect then also. Let's go to the module 4. This is about using online media and writing for online media. A lot of things that we are dealing here are about the requirements of writing for online media. Let me directly go to a slide that we're using in this module, for example. Of course, we
wanted to make the work visible of the
give help that the writers that are writing online, for example, creating content for online, have to think about when they think of their readers, for example. They're just like Carlos mentioned before, walking in the shoes of our readers, our recipients.
To develop this
we try to inform them about how is the behavior of online readers, how do they deal, for example, that you need to have interactivity because people like to click and not to read like 4,000 characters without any image or
Carlos, that you're trying to get it into national curriculum. That's based on your initiative. It's a very good start. But really, we're doing the same things that we are sometimes, I think, critical towards our own sector of adult education towards. That is, we do a good job, but then at the end of it, when we really will start to need to market it, then our time and our energy runs out. But Wilfred, you wanted to comment?
So I guess, and I hope that this encourages everybody who finds the curriculum just to use it. We wanted to make it easy to use it and to implement it in your context or institution. Well, as I told you before, we already tested the curriculum and the different modules, or as Carlos told us before. He did a multiplier event in
Lucia,
Portugal.
what are your
We did
dreams
one in
for the
Austria.
future
Here you
of
can
the
see the
results
image
of
of the
this
participants and
project? If
trainers
I
here in
give you
Austria,
a
where we
bunch of
did
money
that
and time, what would you do to
course,
make
the
this
training
really
at the end of February
that
until
thing
mid
for
of
people
March.
to want to take
And
and
we
use?
also want to encourage you, of course, if you use it, to give a certificate to the learners that have finished the training. We try to develop the curriculum in a way that it's not too difficult, or in fact it's easy to give certificates, because every module has a good description of the learning outcomes that you may reach, may acquire by implementing the module and by learning this the content and working on it. So this shouldn't be too difficult. In Austria, we were lucky we could give the participants a certificate on the training,
feedback that came in
and they could use it
to
in
this,
2 different ways. Just to give you an
Carlos
example
was
of how this
mentioning
can
in the
be.
beginning, this
One way is that
new way of
we have a
using
validation
media,
system in Austria for
that young
adult
people
educators,
might be more
where they can
interested
hand in that
Instagram,
certificate, so
sharing
that will
photos
be
and making a
acknowledged
visual
if they want
presentation
to
rather than
have
reading a
a
long
diploma as adult
article in
educators. So
Facebook or
that's
any other media.
something that makes
And
it useful
even
for the
Facebook is
participants.
modern media compared
And the other
to
is
some
that
print newspapers
we
and
work
some
with the
radio
Austrian Federal
and
Ministry
TV,
of
which we also
Education,
still have.
Research
So we
and
have a
Science.
a range of media options where we need to
They
figure out, I
accept the
guess,
certificate
where we can make the
of
best
those
impact.
who
And there
took
has been
part in
some
the
comments
training
in the commentary
as
field here about
a
the
proof that they are able to
invisibility
write
of
for
adult
online media
educators
and
in
adult
public
education in
debates.
Austria, and
I
that they are
quite
allowed
agree
to
with that
publish
notion.
on certain media
And
they
also
wouldn't be
about the
otherwise.
problem
so
of
this is
spamming
use that
in
we could
social
create that
media.
we're quite lucky about.
So by doing what you suggested,
could,
Chia, of more
have
trainings,
this
we
kind of
might
success.
be able to
To round
specify
up,
better
I
and to
want to tell you
pinpoint
that
better where
as we
can
tried,
accomplish
as we
effects to certain
implemented the
different target
curriculum
groups,
already, as
vulnerable
we
groups, or
tested
young
it
people, or
among the partners within our
politicians,
network,
and
the
so on.
project network,
One
we also
feedback
had an
that came was
evaluation of
also
this
about the cultural differences.
implementation and testing,
That
and
it is
I
one
want to share
Europe,
a
but it
few
is not
facts that we
really
found
one
out.
Europe in
Overall
terms of
satisfaction is
how
very
the
high
media
with the
landscape
curriculum,
looks like.
so
It's different.
4 out of
The
5
conversational
score
tone,
very
the
high
way you use
in by means of
newspapers
overall
in Finland.
satisfaction.
We have
They found it
newspapers
very relevant,
everywhere,
the
but they might be
curriculum and the
different.
training
The
that we
tone, the
could
way they
provide.
act,
We were lucky
radio,
that
public broadcasts, commercial TV stations,
79.6%
even
think
social
that
media will have
they
also
can really
cultural
transfer
differences. And
that
that
what
is
they
something
learned in
that
the training to
we were
their
not able
daily
in this round
professional
of the
life as
project
adult educators.
to take into consideration.
Quite good
For me, that was a learning thing as well, because we would like to talk about it as one Europe and adult education as
Some
one adult education. But in
told us
fact,
that they would
it's very many adult
need or
educations
would love to have
and very many
more
European cultural
exercises within the
contexts.
training, more
One
One
examples.
concrete
we could talk
question
about.
was,
Of
when
course,
will
This is a
this
question
tool
of
be
how long
available?
the training
Wilfried,
can
can
be.
you enlighten
Many of
us
those
on
trainings
that?
were
to
just one
try
day long, so
out more trainings.
and then tested only
We
one of the
tested model
modules, so
4,
of course
but
then
it
you
would
cannot
also
go
be
too deep.
interesting to
But
test other
be assured,
modules
if
and
you
to find
look at the
out
curriculum
what
for your
could
own
be done
purposes,
better
you will see that there is
to
lots and
make
loads of
adult education more
exercises to
visible
work on.
and make the
You
work
just
of
have to pick
adult
those that are
educators
relevant
more
for your
visible in Europe.
participants. Yeah, the coherence of the curriculum by means of the content was also evaluated very good. Of course, some people miss some additional content, and that brings me to the last slide for this presentation, and then I will hand over to Johanni again for the discussion. This is the conclusions that we have withdrawn now from this evaluation as Cornedo team. This has to be discussed further in our partnership by the end of this week. I think that it's good if you try to implement the curriculum, take a look at the whole thing, try to get a good image of the curriculum and its parts, its modules, its different
we are about to wrap up
parts and
really
whatever,
taking that
and try to
work.
pick the things
thank
that
you
you
to
think
all who
you might really use
for your patience
for your
stayed here the full hour.
participants
We're
and
very
learners
grateful. I
that you
know
want to
we're
train,
busy. Most
and
people
I think that you
are.
will
And the reason we
do a
do
good
the
job.
webinars is
And the
because
other thing is what we
we
will
hope
have to
by
do
this
with also
way,
with
this
the
method, that we can reach
I think
more
one
people.
way,
feedback
as
that
you
we
were
got,
recording,
some
we
expressing
hope
our
you found it
good to
useful,
focus
about
even
that you
more
can see
on
that
the question,
perhaps
how
you
can
can
we
also
really
Facebook
journalists
colleagues and
in order to
friends
get